So we're good?
We're good.
Are we all good? Cole, how about you over there? Are you good? Awesome. Okay, hi everyone. This is Hypnotism with Cyrus. This is a Q&A panel and a meet and greet. Ask me anything, if you will. I was going to prepare a speech type deal, but I'm kind of lazy, not good at it. And as it turns out, if you try to hypnotize a subject to do it, they just repeat how awesome you are. So, let's go ahead and start this. So, I'm Cyrus, of course. I'm the one speaking in the microphone. I am a hypnotist in the furry fandom. I have been for a while. I started practicing, studying hypnosis when I was 12. I started really getting into it whenever I was around 15, 16, and got into the fandom at around 17, and started putting my work into the fandom at around 18.
Are you from LA?
I must have cleared the board on my stuff at least 5 times now, and so pretty much everything on there is from last year and up to now. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead and start the Q&A. You back there in the purple glove. What? Oh, you want to introduce yourself too? I'm sorry, I'm being selfish.
It is your panel.
It is my panel. Do you want to introduce yourself, Pestylence?
Hi, I'm Pestylence. I've been a fan of hypnosis for a very long time. I've known Cyrus for a few years. Something got into it from something about Disney movies.
Yeah, something around there.
Very happy to be out there and be a part.
Don't you shake your head. Well, let's start with the purple glove first.
I was going to ask, do you ever find people that's hard to hypnotize by chance?
Yes, that happens quite often. I also find people who tell me that they're easy to hypnotize really often. They feel very comfortable flaunting it. But most of the time, people have never been hypnotized before whenever they come to me. And so they don't know where to start, and I usually just help them through that.
When you say you got into hypnosis when you were 12, is that just code for saying you saw the Jungle Book?
Yes. No. Oh.
You say you help people, or tell people how to start. How do you start?
How do you start? That's always a good question. So the best way to start is to usually find someone experienced in the fandom. Well, not the furry fandom, but hypnotism in general. Usually you find someone experienced who can help you out with something like, some people will just point you to like public files online, or they'll actually help you out by actually giving you a light session or two, testing your suggestibility, fun stuff like that. I mean, you can go take a seat. You're not in front of the camera or anything. So yeah, that's roughly it. Helping people by telling them how most people feel comfortable starting, and listening to their experience and giving them suggestions from there.
I will say the easiest time as a subject that I've ever had is when a hypnotist will go to a length to make you comfortable. So if you're looking to get into it, anybody that you're wanting to connect with, actually learning a little bit about them, spending time with them, chatting back and forth. Don't just, if you're new to it, don't just off the street somebody say, oh, I want to get hypnotized, I'll do it, and don't know what,
Yeah.
Build up a little bit of a rapport. It helps a lot when you're asking somebody to trust you with even a little bit of themselves.
Yes, definitely. Building a friendship is definitely the best way to go. Don't just go to someone who flaunts at their dom and go, hypnotize me, daddy. Yes, you.
Kind of a question, kind of a statement.
That's fine.
Like you said, you trust someone. There was my old DM back in Mesquite. He hypnotized me, he recorded me, he just said, okay, you're in a warehouse, what do you see? And I described more than what he just asked me for. Is that normal to actually just make things up?
I mean, yeah, if he just puts you in a scenario and doesn't give you really any specifics or anything, then your mind will naturally fill things in for the area. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, go ahead, don't worry.
I was gonna say, like, 'cause I forgot his name now, but there was some doctor who did an experiment. All he did was give the guys the suggestion that the communists were taking over the media, and from there, this dude like elaborated a whole story around that for like 15 minutes that he genuinely ended up believing, just from that small suggestion.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yes, Steve.
What are some of the most common problems or obstacles you faced in people who are new to hypnosis?
Oh my. Oh, sorry.
Genuine, I should say, genuine obstacles.
Okay. Genuine obstacles. There are some people who are new to it and like to say that they can't be hypnotized at all when in reality they're not actually paying attention or trusting you in any real way.
Did you just say trust in me?
Justin.
Trust in me. Anyway. But yeah, it's mainly people having a hard time when they're not actually trying. They're more or less just hopping in and expecting to get hypnotized on the spot and, you know, fun stuff like that. You know, stuff that you see in art.
I'd say some people probably have a hard time giving it up the same way they'd have a hard time talking to anybody. People that are really, really closed off tend to not just easily trust somebody, and a lot of this revolves around that. So
Yeah, people with issues trusting others due to an experience in their past have troubles doing that. Also, if you have trouble sleeping, that can cause that as well.
So if you,
Oh,
sorry,
So,
go ahead.
you can go ahead first.
It was just on that note. So you're saying that the problem is that people come in and they're like, I can't be hypnotized, and then they try not to be. And the whole thing is, if you're going to do it, you have to be willing.
Yeah, that's more or less the fact. You would have to be willing to be hypnotized. It's not.
You can't go in with
it can't
guns
be
out.
forced.
On the other
Uh,
side.
Wait,
who's
wait.
next, actually?
he's next, and then we'll get to you.
So, that's how someone would have a problem with being hypnotized if they had no experience. What if they had like a bad experience or something like that? East Coast trust.
Well, yeah, that obviously would go into. I would have to build a relationship with that person, a friendship, you know, and slowly build trust over time, and maybe help them work it out if they want it worked out at all. Some people, you know, will get a bad experience and then just stay away from that forever.
Yeah, on the opposite side of what you were saying before, just being willing or wanting to be hypnotized isn't enough, or is not an automatic guarantee that you are going to be hypnotized, right?
No, it's not an automatic guarantee. I've seen people who are more than willing to be hypnotized stuff, and I've worked with these people for about over a year, and I've only just now started making breakthroughs with them, like light trances. Of course, I've mostly worked in text these days, so it's a bit more difficult with text with some people. With voice, it's usually a bit easier because, you know, you don't have to spend 30 seconds trying to type a sentence. Yeah.
And there's this little problematic thing called the subconscious that we don't have much control over, and that tends to have an effect on. We could be willing to do something, but somewhere in the back of our minds there's something that holds us back from doing it.
Also, thank you for looking back there, by the way, Pestylence. I'm not doing that, apparently.
Yeah, just raise y'all's hand. You on the left, and then the one in the horns we can do.
I got a question for you, because folks are asking about getting into it as a subject. What would you advise someone wanting to get into it as a hypnotist?
For someone wanting to get in as a hypnotist, you would want to let people know, like join group chats, stuff like that, and say, hey, I'm new to this and I want to be a hypnotist. Is there somebody that can give me any tips, somebody that has any reference material that they can send my way so I can study up on it? Some people will give you warnings and whatnot. Sorry, the bells distracted me.
Big animal.
Was that trigger?
They were mesmerizing. Anyway.
Ring any bells?
Yeah, I would just say go into group chats, say that you're new. Usually, most hypnotists are very kind to new hypnotists coming in. Most subjects are very kind as well. There are some you should stray away from, and I'm not going to go into that right now, but.
Go.
My question was, we've talked about a lot of how some people are harder to hypnotize than others. Do people with like ADHD and stuff like that tend to be more difficult to hypnotize because they can't really concentrate on
It depends. I have ADHD as well, but it depends on how well you can control your ADHD. Like, I have some people that can't control it at all, and it gets difficult sometimes. It depends on the time of day, more or less. But if you can control it and focus on a single thing, it's very, it assists you, actually, if you can get it to the point where you can hyper-focus on something.
Sure, and then you.
Actually, a comment on the last guys. There are also a lot of books and stuff you can read up on the subject. You'll find most of them in like the New Age sections for like metaphysics and stuff.
Yeah, books are easy to come by. There's one book that I have. It's a little brown book that I had imported from Canada whenever I was 15. It costed me like $10, $12, and it didn't really talk about safety or anything like that. It just talked about different methods, so I had to find safety in forums online and whatnot.
Just a quick note on that. Something that got me started on that was the easiest thing to do was like you can like just read what his scripts are. Like just read the other scripts from other hypnotists, just get an idea of what they do.
Oh yeah, reading scripts is definitely very helpful. You can get a base on how inductions work just off of reading other hypnotists' scripts that they post online.
You just touched the subject of safety a second ago. What do you recommend to subjects who are feeling uncomfortable with the way their hypnotist is operating, or vice versa? How does a hypnotist convey to their subject, to make sure that they're doing okay?
Okay, so a hypnotist needs to be, first of all, very specific with what they tell their subject. It's more like the common rules of domination. You need to ask your subject how they're feeling at that moment. You need to continue to ask questions on, is this all right? Are you okay with this? It doesn't make you less dominant to ask those questions.
If you ever feel uncomfortable, if it's a healthy relationship, you should be able to state that. Even between somebody that's just doing this, because most people aren't licensed psychologists or anything, like you're just doing this for fun, essentially. If you're uncomfortable, and truly uncomfortable, then you should speak up. And they should also respect you for that. That's very common when you get into the adult side of things. That is very commonly stated, and most people that have been in it and have a lifestyle in it will keep to those tenets. You really need to respect each other and respect each other's boundaries.
Note on that also, I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot.
It's fine.
In that scenario, I've actually had an instance where I told someone no, and they still kept trying to do it. Well, just always keep in mind, hypnosis isn't like some fairy tale thing where they can always force you to do something you don't want to do. You just simply just tell them no, and if they try to say something like, well, I'm your dominant, so you have to, or I'm going to make you do it because it's sexy, don't.
This lovely thing called a block for this one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing you just walk away from.
And I've had the hypnotist try to get me to do something that I said no to. And it's just like, I'm not going to. I said, no, well, you should do this, and try to change the words a little bit. And just broke me out of it. And honestly, from the perspective of somebody who's getting hypnotized, it's really breaking the second that happens. And honestly, I cut communication. Because if you don't have respect for me, then why would I want to give you the trust to do something in this setting, especially in this setting? Like,
I don't mind you talking a lot. The more you talk, the less I have to talk.
It's a two-way street.
yes.
In what ways would a group session differ from a solo session?
So the way a group session would differ from a solo session is, of course, you don't have that trust building, you don't have that one-on-one experience, right? It's more of you have to generalize what you're doing and not create a specific environment for a specific person. You're trying to be very general so everyone can enjoy themselves. Oh, yes, Purple Glove again.
Is it possible to do hypnotism to help someone with a phobia by chance? Have you ever done that before?
Yes, I have attempted to help somebody with a phobia before. It's a very long process, depending on how deep the phobia is. It's, how do I explain it? It's more of trying to help them with the fear, telling them that it's okay, it's not actually anything that can hurt you. It's more of what a therapist might help you with, only you're kind of sleeping.
And there are studies that have shown that hypnosis does help, and even in a clinical setting. It's not an end-all be-all when it comes to like addiction and phobias and stuff like that, but it is shown that it does help and does improve other methods of trying to get over it, such as immersion and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can experience the phobia, and you can experience the phobia without actually having to be near the phobia, so it's more of a controlled setting.
So I guess I have two questions. One relating to the thing about procrastination.
Procrastination, yes.
Right. Another thing is, so my first, I wouldn't say venture because I didn't really like buy into it since I had to buy something. My first encounter with the whole hypnotism thing was way a long time ago when I first joined the fandom. It was an ad on FA, and it had like a lion character and something about
Hypnobeast?
Now what I think?
Yeah.
And they wanted you to buy like MP3s or something like that.
Yeah,
Hypnobeast's
website, you have to buy all of his MP3s.
Now, like my question pertains mostly to, since you have to build like a sort of trust, I imagine you have to be one-on-one with a person, whether it's text or something, but you have to be one-on-one with a person, not just have something talking to you,
Yeah,
you know,
it's,
without any actual direct conversation. I was gonna say, like, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
Well, some people enjoy not having to have conversation with others. It's more of an anxiety type deal, dealing with, do I want to talk to this new person, or, oh wow, this is a pop-you-fur, how can I talk to this person? And so that's why people like that have files up for sale, so you don't have to go through the anxiety of, how do I say hi to you? But of course, they also have it for sale.
I guess the last thing I was going to say is because like the thing that drove me completely away from like ever wanting to try that specific deal was that like I think I remember someone telling me that all it is just ASMR or something.
I wouldn't know. I've never tried any of those files. I'd imagine that it has ASMR in the background.
Has a YouTube channel.
I myself have wanted to try it, but I mean, I wouldn't know where to go for hypnotism stuff.
Again, you can go to group chats and you can find people online who are into it. Like, if you were to approach me on FA and leave me a message and ask me as a hypnotist, hey, whose files or who can I talk to, stuff like that. Of course, I would feel the need to tell you I'm pretty good, but I would also give you other hypnotists that I have talked to and worked with. There are plenty out there.
They actually do have quite a few videos on YouTube, so they're free.
Yeah, a lot of hypnotists like to release free stuff, mainly because we try to release it for, payment. People won't buy it. And it's better to help people out anyway than to try to make money off of the subject.
For sure, it's always free.
You have a question and then you.
How do you feel about Pavlovian conditioning and also triggers?
Pavlovian conditioning?
Pavlovian conditioning. You know that one?
No, I
Then I'll say, how do you feel about triggers?
Ring a bell, a dog salivates because you rang a bell.
It's hypnosis or association, but I'll skip that one. How do you feel, or how do you feel about triggers?
It's been a while since I heard. What, triggers? Oh, triggers.
What kind of fun stuff have you done with triggers? Without going into adult themes.
Non-adult things.
Not adult things, but still intriguing.
The most general trigger I've done is like something that all hypnotists have done, I believe, at one point or another. It's either good boy, good girl, good pet. If you want to be gender neutral. And it's usually one of those things that send good feelings through the person whenever you tell them that. And that's roughly all it does whenever I do it. It's just good feelings. But
when it comes to triggers, they also fade over time.
They do fade over time and inactivity.
So it's usually something that is lived for a little bit, it fades.
It's just something fun you
which is not necessarily a bad thing.
And remember that triggers don't have power over you, you have power over the trigger. I'm
triggered.
Go ahead.
I was just expanding on
Sorry.
I was just expanding on what he was asking. What if you can work yourself into like a slight basic trance or something? A lot of those over the internet files will work. If you're just doing it by yourself, you can maybe get yourself into like a basic meditative state or something like that.
Oh yes, there is meditation, auto-hypnosis. You can hypnotize yourself with enough effort and practice. It's usually what meditation is going into a nice light trance and searching for yourself.
I usually find like if I'm wanting to be hypnotized, I usually, if it's voice, I'll get some headphones that are really good headphones. Make the room dark, almost like I'm going to sleep. Lay back on the bed and get very comfortable so there's as little outside influence so that I can really get into the moment of that versus having outside things, birds chirping or things that remind me of the outside world and not what this experience that we're driving at. I'm actually going to shut the door.
Yeah, it's been kind of
You had a question and then you.
So I was just curious since some people brought up two questions.
Okay.
First question is what are the similarities we've seen between hypnotic states and meditative states?
Well, that's the thing is a meditative state and a hypnotic state they aren't very different in any real way. The only real way they're different is they're both trance. It's just being in a hypnotic state with another person is just having someone there with you to guide you and you're not just seamlessly flowing around by yourself.
My other question was, have you ever encountered I guess you could say the concept or the trope of a hypnotist's trance, where as they're doing the hypnotic guidance, the hypnotist themselves falls into a trance-like state as well?
Yeah, friendly fire, yes. It's whenever you're working with a subject, you have to put all of your focus into it. And so as the subject is putting all their focus into you, you're putting all your focus into the subject. And yes, both people are hypnotized.
You and ears.
Very first time I was hypnotized, I remember I was made to fly, and as it started to happen, I got so excited that I ended up breaking out of trance. And now that I do hypnotism for others, I've had issues with something similar where sometimes when the person who's under is, really starting to get excited about what's happening, like, oh my god, it's working or whatever, they'll start to come out of it a little bit. It won't fully break, but I was wondering if
I think it's because of that awareness.
It's that awareness.
Yeah.
The overstimulation. What you want to do is make sure to tell them that they're calm in this state. Try to assure them that they're calm, and hopefully the adrenaline, overstimulation can overcome it. Of course, if they're easily excitable, it's a bit more difficult.
Adrenaline's a hell of a thing. It'll
It's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug. It will break you out of a lot of things. That's kind of its point, is to push you out of situations that it thinks, or help you push through. So if you're getting really excited, you kick off the same thing as if you're getting really scared, or you're getting, in a situation life or death, which flying is kind of close. It's a little bit nervous, a little bit excited.
Gotta try to keep the emotions in check.
You gotta keep. You have to keep a person calm through that, or their body's response will actually start to have the effect it's supposed to, and make them more aware of what's going on, instead of when you want them less aware of anything but what you're trying to have them the moment that you're putting them in, not the moment that they're in their house, or lying there, sitting there.
Just expanding to make it more layman's terms. Basically, when you're hypnotizing somebody or somebody's hypnotizing you, it's like trying to remember a dream. The harder you do it, the less is going to happen.
We have time for 2 more questions. Yes.
I've got a question that kind of bases off of yours, between the hypnotism and the, I guess, the concentration and whatnot. I've tried Reiki before, and I've used that as a healing kind of energy. I'm curious how you see that in simulation, or as similar to hypnotism, whether it's a healing or if it's a different method altogether.
I'm not familiar with Reiki.
It's a psychic healing thing.
Yeah, it's more of a spiritual healing.
Is it kind of
on
like
that
meditation?
aspect. Yes.
It's a meditation thing. Oh yeah, meditation's great for healing. As long as you know what you're doing, if you know how to explore yourself properly and assess yourself like that, then yes, it's great for that.
What was the question exactly?
I guess just if there are similarities between like a Reiki healing and the hypnotism on the more of the psyche side of it.
So, if you're with the right person, it's the same when I was talking about psychological studies have shown. People that are there to help, when he was trying to help with, people's phobias and stuff like that, people that are trying to help you with smoking and stuff, especially if they're licensed psychologists, are going to try to lead you down the path that they know is a good path. Kind of like you're trying to do for yourself when you're meditating to heal something in your mind or something in your body. I would say it's probably very similar. You know yourself a little bit, better than most people. Even a psychologist is going to take many sessions before they get to know really what the problem is. So you exploring this is going to be the same carefulness and thoughtfulness, that you would be doing if you were meditating using Reiki.
Okay.
So I'd say it's probably very similar, but I don't actually have a study that I could actually quote on that.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. Of course, I've never heard of Reiki, so.
Last question.
Can I make a comment on it?
A comment? Sure.
Yeah. I found that if you find a hypnosis leader that uses that as well, you can do the exact same thing with it that you can as well. It puts you into that. It's the same. It all depends on what kind of hypnotist you have, like what kind of energy that they use.
The energy transfer and everything else. Okay, cool.
One last question. Sure.
So just like going on, he's saying what you're worried about phobias. I have anxiety, social issues a bit, and my friends brought me here as a second time at the convention, and get me out of my shell, talk to more people, meet more people, possibly make relationships. I mean, that's not quite happening anytime soon. But have you ever helped anyone with confidence issues? Try to get them boost their confidence, so go out more, talk to more people, and enjoy life as we know it.
Yeah, it's more of whenever you talk to a subject, you need to encourage them that it's all right to talk to people. There's no reason to be scared. They're not going to like bite your head off or anything. People aren't sharks, you know. Unless, you know, you see a shark walking around out there, that's probably a shark, don't.
I have a stupid.
As for that, what they're trying to do is a little bit of a thing called immersion therapy. They're trying to get you out there, get you in the situation. What a hypnotist is going to try to do is do that just in your mind. So they can pull it, so they can pull you back when they need to. If you start to show signs of panic or you start to get nervous, they can kind of say, okay, you see the room lessening. There are few people in the room. You find a quiet corner by yourself. You know, little things that would, to me, helping with security for the convention, I would do for somebody that's having a panic attack. Like, I would say similar things, like you find a quiet room by yourself. You hear, and then maybe bring it back a little bit. You hear the people outside. You know, you feel like going to the people outside? No? Okay, let's maybe one person or two people come in and start. Yeah, just, they'll generally coax you. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do a similar thing, but it's in a very controlled environment if you're with the right person. Guys, it's been wonderful. We are at the end of our time. I do not know when the next panel is coming here, but y'all are all into hypnosis, so please feel free to chat with each other as y'all leave. You know, everybody has a common bond here. If y'all could, before he does another shameless plug, which he should, he's a really sweet guy. Seriously, there is something y'all could do for us, for the convention and for the panel. If you do not have guidebook, that's how we are rating what panels we bring back next year. If you would like this, what is accidentally not an adult panel, to probably be an adult panel next year like it's supposed to, please go on guidebook, please rate it. If you enjoyed it, let us know. They will be tracking that. It is how we're keeping up with what panels we want to bring back next year.
Bring us the adult panel.
So, that would be, yes, please bring us the adult, Please go to guidebook. Please rate 5 stars. However many does max stars.
And then you can go on the website and ask, it links you.
Anyway, we can communicate or something. Just ask for information, 'cause I gotta go
Well,
right now.
you need to plug your thing.
Well, you can find me at Cyrus_software on Telegram. And if you see me just walking around the con, feel free to stop me, talk to me, do anything you want, you know. Well,
within reason.
Within reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
for
on the con floor.
public.
Within reason and local laws.
Yes, that is me.
Okay, I gotta go. But I'll shoot you a message sometime
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have a YouTube channel?
I do have a YouTube channel.
Same?
I don't remember how to get to it, but most of my files have my name in it.
Cyrus.
So just type in Cyrus and you'll eventually find it.
Just type in Cyrus and
Hypnosis, you'll
yeah,
find it.
Yeah. And your Patreon.
And my Patreon, it should just be Cyrus Software as well. It might be Snow Fox Hypnotist, I'm not sure. Something like that.
You can find the YouTube, you can find.
I give you my Telegram, and if you want my Patreon, I'll give it to you. I can link it at any time. That's just if you want that. Selfless plug. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Please rate it. Like I said, that chooses whether we get to bring this back or not. So.
Is there a time limit on how long we have to rate a panel?
To what?
Rate a panel.
Yeah, like.
I'm not sure there's a time limit. I can.
So like, if I wanted to rate it like tomorrow, I
I'm
could
sure
rate a
that'd be
panel
fine.
from yesterday. For example.
I think so. I think as long as you're done before the convention's done, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Probably week after that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
They probably close it when the convention's over.
Not originally. I was 17 and
Please
couldn't
feel
think of
free to
anything
give me
else.
hugs or anything.
Based on the 717 flight.